Hello and welcome. So, this is my first ever micro course that I'm putting out in the universe. So, thank you for being here and for not just wanting to develop your founder voice, but for trusting me in the process to do that. So, we will fully dive in. I will share my framework. I want this to feel like I'm coaching you through this process of not necessarily finding your voice, but really moving the things out of the way that are getting in the way of your true, organic, most authentic self from coming through. This is what I want you to focus on. This is how I want you to see your voice. This is your leadership currency. It moves people, it aligns your team, it builds credibility, it creates momentum forward. I don't want to minimize when we're talking about voice, and I want to start this in the introduction. I don't want to minimize it to just being content, to just being a TikTok, to just being a reel. It is much more of an ecosystem, which you'll hear me talk about, but there's so much more depth than what we see and what we talk about it as. So a bit about me. I have my background is in education. I have my doctorate in org leadership. And now I get to work with startup founders through massive growth and change moments. And this is one of the things that I work on with almost every founder in very different ways. This is my 4-step framework that I use with founders as we are working together. So we will start with a deep diagnosis. We have to understand the problem before we move to strategy, before we move to implementation. I see this so many times as founders, but especially as solo founders, is that your kryptonite and your superpower is how fast you can move. That was one of the things that attracted me the most about working with startups. And I think that spending time in a deep diagnosis and really understanding the root cause and the problem is going to be critical to selecting the right strategy and not just a strategy. So this is what we'll go through. This isn't like an introduction, but each piece of this micro course, each module will walk you through one of these 4 steps. Your founder voice extends far beyond content. It is an ecosystem. You'll hear me talk about this time and time again. So whether you're building in public on socials or not, your voice shows up in all of these spaces. Team, how you're setting your vision, how you're communicating setbacks and wins with contractors, how you show up in public at a dinner party, when you meet somebody for coffee, when you are introduced to somebody that could potentially be an investor. All of these moments, your voice is showing up in, whether you realize it or not. So these different pieces of your ecosystem, team culture, brand message, community, deep, deep, deep community connection, investor narrative, press, PR, and long form, short form content. All of these pieces, and this is just to name a few, are part of your founder or leadership voice ecosystem. Your voice is a through line that lives through all of these pieces. It's not a tactic, it's not a strategy. This is your story. And I really, like I said in the beginning, want to make sure that that comes through in an authentic way. I want to close this intro with this quote that I love, 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 because when I talk about voice, sometimes people say it out loud or not, but it's like the person that walks in and commands the room. It's the person that's the loudest in the room. And I want us to understand, and again, set the tone that it's not about being loudest in the room. It's about being consistent and being remembered and communicating your story in a way that others can also tell and repeat that story in a way that you want it to be told.